Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a bit of a part two. We've been talking about the Red Terror as we have seen the rules for this thing now. And after my initial reaction, you all pointed out some good things in the comments. And there have been some things revealed for 11th edition. And with that, I think my opinion of this thing is a bit higher. First off, the thing that you all pointed out that I did not catch. Subterranean Hunter is at the end of any fight phase, not just your opponents as everything else. So that's thing number one, where that actually improves this quite a bit. But at the same time, there is a lot of faith in this thing that might screw you over, but at the same time, again, I'm right there with you. So, let's talk about this a little bit before we move on to what my reworked thinking with the detachments. The Red Terror, okay, has 12 attacks hitting on 2s at 722, 822 in synapse, and it has the Gaping Maw. That is extra attacks, devastating wounds, precision, 1 attack, hitting on 2, strength 5, AP null, damage D3 plus 2, and with Swallow Whole, if you finish off an infantry, mounted, or beast unit with the Gaping Maw, you regenerate up to D3 plus 2 lost wounds. So, I, with some Trigon love, right? It's surprisingly easy to not roll enough dice to take up a unit that you think you should. That said, I think that this, for most purposes, is one of the few units that should always make its points back at 130. Because at the end of the fight phase, any fight phase, it gets to retreat. As a lot of you pointed out, there shouldn't be too many opportunities for you to lose the Red Terror if you're smart about things. However, there is a caveat with that. There will be perfectly reasonable units that sometimes you just flub, your opponent has -1 to hit, feel no pain, whatever. And all it takes is one model to stay alive for your Red Terror to be stuck in engagement range and taken out back. It's T8 with a 3-up save, no invuln, and 9 wounds. So, with the way that you all have said it, or pointed out, I agree. Probably shouldn't be in too much danger if you do things right. I think I'm still upset that it doesn't have Lone Op, because why does a fucking orc on a bike, a mounted vehicle bike, get Lone Op and this thing doesn't? Like I hear the like, hey, it shouldn't be getting targeted, but come on now, well, let's just compare things that are getting Lone Op out here. But I'm not too remiss about it. Past that though, I do worry that it will easily fall to the fact of like, oh shit, I left one fucking guardsman alive on this unit. Now I'm stuck. GG. Right? Because if it gets stuck at any point in time, it's probably done with a 3-up, no invuln, 9 wounds, T8. It's probably cooked. However, coming back to it should always make its points back. I think that this will be definitely a good unit for taking out lone ops that thought they were safe with Serpentine Fiend. That might impact your game a lot more than you want. Like, haven't seen Cypher in a second, but, throw this into Cypher. Throw this into an Assassin, right? Pick it up. You go, I didn't need 130 points to pick up that Assassin, you're right, but then you do it again somewhere else on the board, right? So this is one of the few times that I'm perfectly okay with it being 130 and primarily eating things that are a fraction of the 130 cost. Past that though, I want to start talking about detachment uses given what we know going forward and some things. So first off, subterranean assault. Obviously everybody looks at this one like, hey, it's going to cook in subterranean assault. And I don't disagree. I just don't know how much of an improvement it is still. Still not sold on that part, purely because a lot of people are like, hey, this is great, makes more tunnels, which you need in subterranean assault, of course, but it still gives you the issue of being able to place those tunnels and getting use out of them that I don't know many subterranean assault players facing that problem now. Um, so that's kind of where I am with it. Like, I get that it gives you more, but I'm not sure if that was an issue that I'll say that out of the like top subterranean assault players that I've seen with it, I can't say that that's been one of the damn I just wish I had more tunnels. Don't get me wrong, I think more tunnels obviously makes your army work better, right? Especially getting started sooner, right? Um, and in places that, whatever. And if your opponent is focused on trying to clean up tunnels compared to playing their own game, alright, fine, right? Definitely with it. I just don't know how massive it is for subterranean assault compared to subterranean assault being massive for it. Does that make sense? Like, um, for comparison, I think subterranean assault will be good with or without the Red Terror. But I do think the Red Terror gets better by getting the reroll hit rolls of 1, getting a rerollable charge, and access to sustained, and another way to regain lost wounds in subterranean assault. But so far, my primary concern is keeping it alive on the one time that you swing wrong. Like the one time that, for whatever reason, you make, let's say you failed 2 out of 12 attacks. Well, 2 out of 13. Shit. 2 out of 13 attacks. And your opponent rolls crazy with some feel no pains and some saves. And then you get stuck. And because Tunnel Network got nerfed, you are just there. Like that's my main worry with the Red Terror so far. Which brings me to Vanguard Onslaught, which is one that I was kind of, and I still am backing. And I want to talk about Vanguard Onslaught for a second here. It was revealed with the Space Marine faction focus that in 11th edition, Battle Shock won't just automatically fall off. You have to retest for Battle Shock. So that makes Vanguard Onslaught pretty good between Hunting Grounds and Surprise Assault. And with that, if your opponent is Battle Shocked and not able to use a stratagem into you, there's a good chance that you're actually a little bit alive. But the main thing that brings me to Vanguard Onslaught getting this is the Detachment getting a buff by the Red Terror existing, more so the Red Terror getting a buff by Vanguard Onslaught existing, is Seated Broods. So, your movement phase, 1 Tyranid unit that's in reserves, or 2 Vanguard Invader units from your army that are in reserves. Until the end of the phase, for the purposes of setting up those selected units on the battlefield, treat the current battle round number as being 1 higher than it actually is. This puts you in a position to bring in the Red Terror, turn 1, charge something, turn 1, get it out of the game, turn 1, and fuck off. Now, that also gives you the situation of if you get stuck, kind of. But I feel Vanguard Onslaught gives you enough safeguards for interesting situations between Battle Shock because you can't, an 11th won't be able to stack stratagems, but, there's that too. But between Seated Broods and possibly Battle Shock Failure, fingers crossed, we've always been doing that, uh, in the fight phase, there's, I think it adds a step to Vanguard Onslaught of, I'm already taking out something that needs to be dealt with fairly quickly. Now, that said, you don't have rerolls here. It's not sustained. So it is really a lot of faith, trust, and pixie dust on the own 13 rolls that you make. Um, but there's that. I do think, the more I think about it, Seated Broods, Red Terror, might be a terror for some people. Always depending on the meta. If it's a vehicle meta, fuck it, right? But if we're looking at, I don't know, Astra Militarum, Little Tau bullshit, AdMech small bullshit, yeah, you might start advancing the game plan of Vanguard Onslaught fairly quickly. And then here comes another one that I was a bit surprised made it over compared to something else I'm probably going to go with. But this is my former flame, Crusher Stampede. When I was going through it, I wrote off the fact of like, the +1 to hit is going to be whatever I already hit on 2s. But that's always good when something has -1 to hit, right? Nullify it out. Cool. And if you are below half strength with the Red Terror, it's probably turbo cooked as we know, but there is a chance for +1 to wound. There's that, right? But coming down to the stratagems, in a similar situation, I might bring this back to Vanguard Onslaught once Massive Impact, as was leaked, I guess, by the core rules that are going in 11th edition, becomes core, right? Massive Impact, charging through a wall and getting some mortal wounds started so that you risk less by getting involved into a unit, pretty good. Rampaging Monstrosities gives you reroll hits, which, hey, again, if something does have -1 to hit against you, for whatever reason, I'd rather reroll all of my hits versus reroll hit rolls of 1. Cool. But the other one, again, coming to looking towards 11th edition, if everything stays the same, right? I should have said that earlier, but if everything stays the same, Savage Roar. Fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 Tyranid monster. The enemy unit takes a battle shock test. If they pass it, -1 to hit. If they fail, -1 to hit and -1 to wound. And since we are in Crusher Stampede, getting a second monster that is just going through walls advances your game plan significantly, right? The enhancements, whatever, don't talk about it. Maybe you even end up in a situation where it'd be nice to just throw 5 OC on the board, on something, call it a day, and then that just gives you a little bit of wiggle room until you have to go somewhere else. Assuming that you are getting back to full health. So, I think that Crusher Stampede, the way I see it, might give me a reason to look towards Crusher Stampede again, compared to one that we'll get to. Then you'll see that I have Invasion Fleet after those, because I did some thinking. That, yeah, sustained hits 1, pretty good. But it's going to be hard to stay within Synapse range, assuming that you don't have like hyper-adapted Raveners just falling up behind all the time. So it'll be hard to get that Feel No Pain 5 up at times, and things along that line. But that's kind of where I am on Invasion Fleet. Assimilation Swarm is one that I obviously was like, oh yeah, it's time to go into Assimilation Swarm and get all the regenerating all the time. Which still kind of true, right? It'll be nice to follow up something that killed a Ripper, and now it's +1 to wound, 12 attacks. It'll be nice to regenerate after picking up a unit twice. That'd be pretty nice with Rapacious Hunger and the Swallow Whole. How'd I forget that name for a second? That'd be pretty nice. I can see it. I can see a world. Synaptic Nexus. Again, drop by some Synapse, preferably Hyper-Adapted Raveners, I assume. +1 to a charge that needs to be made. Maybe an invuln if everything goes wrong on a turn. I could see it. I can see it. Irresistible Will. Reroll hit rolls of 1 and reroll wound rolls of 1. Looks pretty nice, but, that's barring Synaptic Nexus changes. Then there's Warrior Bioform Onslaught, which, no. There is Synaptic Amplification that has reroll wound rolls of 1, which, if you're hitting on 2s, there's a more likely chance that you're wounding on 3. If you're throwing this into things that, reroll that has wounding on 2, I mean, fine, I guess. But I think I would want to reroll my wound rolls more often than my hit rolls on a unit that is hitting on 2s. So, that's fine, I guess, if we're looking at just everything. And Unending Swarm. Got nothing here. Absolutely nothing. But out of everything, I think I'm really feeling Crusher Stampede and Vanguard Onslaught. Vanguard Onslaught for the just, hey, turn 1, bam, guess what? You are down a piece already. And Crusher Stampede, just to security. Security, I pick up the unit. Security that I can hit the unit, whatever it may be. Security that you can't hit me. So, I think that the Red Terror, after further consideration, at 130 points, yeah, I think I like it. I think I like it enough. And if you like the video, like it, got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.